time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
Waters, Marhashwan, lead by 8, led by as many as 17. Looney to Moody. Moody waits for Curry. Curry steps out, takes a 3, it's up and good. 13 in the quarter for number 30. It's 91-77. Curry now with 21 points. And it just happened just like that.
Oh, just happened just like that, Tim Roy. Let's go. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Pregame Show. Joe Spadoni. You got me for the next hour, and I'm fired up. No, not just because it's election day, although that's exciting for some people. It should be an exciting day for our country. It should be. I don't think that's the word people would be using to describe their feelings today, although some might choose to use that. A lot of people get anxiety, this nervous energy, a lot of nervous energy because, it's a big day for a lot of people, for this country, and, where this country is going to be headed for the next 4 years. But for today, let's keep this to sports, all right? And right now, the Golden State Warriors are 6-1. They've won 4 in a row, and they just look good. That's all I can say right now. I'm watching this team, and after all the crap that has gone on the last couple seasons with the punch, with, disgruntled energy, the whole Klay Thompson drama, Lowry Markkanen in the summer, you're going to get him. Oh, Paul George, all right. Is Steph going to stay? Does he want to stay a Warrior? Oh, he balls out the Olympics. He's hanging out with LeBron and AD. I don't know. Is this it? For all the moves they made, Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, D'Anthony Melton, the growth of Pajemski, Trace Jackson Davis, what's going on with Moses Moody? Oh, we should trade Moody. I'll get rid of Moody. You don't deserve Moody. Jonathan Kaminga, is he bought in? I don't know. He didn't accept the contract offer. Ship him off. For all of that conversation that took place in the summer, 7 games in, they're 6-1, haven't lost on the road, beat up the Wizards last night, 125-112 the final. Shout out Sam Lubman, Warriors wrap-up, doing a hell of a job, his first time doing that. Sam Lubman back, ladies and gentlemen. I was out yesterday. Little upset tummy, stomach bug going around. Not fun, but that's what happens when you have kids. Kid gets sick in his class, gets my kid sick, then I get sick. It's right there, circle of life. There it is. But I'm watching the Warriors yesterday, as I digress. They are fluid. They are fast. They are deep. They're fun. I mean, they've checked all the boxes that Warriors fans have been disgruntled about for the last few seasons now. Oh, this team is just relying on Steph Curry only. If he goes out, I don't know. Well, no. If Steph goes out, hey, you know what? JK off the bench. Didn't have his greatest night from beyond the arc, only attempted 2 threes, but you know what? 7 of 15, 15 points, 6 boards, couple of assists. I liked what I saw off the bench from JK. Buddy Hield, are you kidding me? Another just night, again, wasn't his best night from beyond the arc, but 7 of 14 overall. I'll take that. Team high plus 14 off the bench in the plus-minus category. I'll take that. 20 points. People understand their roles. They have bought in, and they are gelling early on in the season. That is a tremendous sign. And not only were they doing that from start to finish, they were doing that without Steph Curry as well. And now Steph is back. And how is that going to look, right? It's one thing to do this all without Steph. And, if he comes back, is it going to be, a seamless transition? I don't know. Are guys going to, is their roles going to be shifted and all that sort of stuff? And there was a different starting lineup. Steph back, so you insert Gary Payton. All right. So you got Curry, Payton, Wiggins, TJD, Draymond Green. All right. No problem. I mean, that's just the unselfish nature of one Stephen Curry, too. The guy fits in everywhere. I mean, hell, I referenced the Olympics. You kidding me? You don't think LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid? Well, I was going to say Jason Tatum, but he didn't really play much. I'm sure that'll be a topic of conversation tomorrow when the Golden State Warriors take on the Boston Celtics. I can't wait for that, by the way. Can't freaking wait. That's going to be the storyline. Kerr versus Tatum. But 888-957-9570. Good morning to all you lovely people. Just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for election day. Go out there and vote, people. It is your duty as Americans to go do that. And it's the right, I should say. It's your right. Civic duty, civic pride. Go out there. It's my PSA today. That's my one thing. I wish I had an actual PSA message. You know, but you listen to all those PSA messages when, I think Sam Lubman and I have them memorized at this point. All the PSA messages that are play on the station at 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning. That's my PSA today. Go vote. And you can hit us up via Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Search 95.7 The Game on any of those platforms. Like and subscribe. Give me a follow on Twitter at Spadoni_Joe. And you could also download that Odyssey app. It is free. Favorite that and thousands of other stations, whether you're into golf, basketball, hockey, football, politics, the election. You got, aliens out there. You're into that. Pop culture. Love is Blind. I'm sure there's a podcast for that. Finished season 7. All right. I watched the tell-all, or the reunion as they call it. Yeah, I'm still out on Hannah. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. I thought Nicky D was immature this season. He had some growing up to do for sure, but I thought he handled that whole situation with class and dignity and didn't stoop to her level. So there you go. I Love is Blind season 7 thoughts. Also Ramses, whatever he's calling himself, Ramses. Yeah, I'm out on that guy. I was never buying into that whole shtick. He was also wearing Beetlejuice pants. Can't be doing that. Come on, take you seriously. Or his Jedi braids, his Padawan braids. Get out of here. Steph Curry, he's back, baby. I want to hear from the GOAT.
I feel good. Our medical team, Rick Celebrini and everybody, they make sure I'm bulletproof before I come back, and obviously a little minute restriction just to make sure. But it's nice to be back out there with my guys. Like you said, they've taken care of business the last 3 games in pretty solid fashion. So I didn't want to be the weak link out there tonight and try to come out and do my part. But we're vibing right now. We're trying to continue to get better. We know we have a long way to go, 3 tough games coming up, but I think we've really established an identity defensively, how we're trying to, move the ball on offense, create good shots. Buddy Hield playing amazing. Draymond scoring the ball. So everybody's pitching in, and it's great to see.
And that's the next step for this team. It's great. It's fun. And I just wax poetically for the last 8 minutes and how fun this team has been, how much they're gelling, how much of a good time they're having. They're handling teams that I'm not going to say should be handling, because you know what? The Golden State Warriors last year struggled against teams that going into the season we thought they should handle. So, that was an important box to check early on in the season. I think they've checked that. I have no problems with the Warriors going up against these lesser teams now in the East or West and saying, you know what, they should win these games. And I'm going into them thinking they will. And that's a big early hurdle after last season. So yeah, you've handled the Blazers, you've handled the Jazz, you've handled, the Pelicans back to back. I don't think much of the Pelicans, but some might. I just don't think they're very good. They're 3-5 right now, second to last in the West. And you almost blew a huge lead against the Houston Rockets. Well, you did. Went to overtime, but you got it done. And then you handled the Wizards. So, yeah. You're beating up on teams that aren't very good. The Rockets are 4-3. I'll give them that one. And you were handling them for most of the game. But this is where it gets interesting. This is where, okay, that's great. Jordan Poole, Fred VanVleet, Zion, Brandon Ingram, I don't know. Scoot Henderson, please. No. We got Jason Tatum, we got Jaylen Brown, we got Derek White. We got the champs tomorrow. The champs. in Boston, in Beantown. And yeah, there's going to be some feelings in regards to Jason Tatum and Steve Kerr because they talked about it. At least Jason did. He was asked about it heading into the season, preseason. I'm going to wonder if I can get any sound of that. If he's been asked about it yet. Probably tomorrow, more so. But there's something there. And he's going to want to show out in front of Steve Kerr. And they're going to try to flex on the Golden State Warriors. But I have a feeling the Warriors are going to be up for it. Just given how they've played right now, there's nothing fluky about how they are playing, even against lesser quality opponents. This kind of play and style of play travels well. And when you have buy-in from the likes of Kyle Anderson, from the likes of Buddy Hield, a couple of journeymen, when you have the buy-in of a guy, a young guy, a guy that's been disgruntled, again, I keep using that word disgruntled, and shout out Curb Your Enthusiasm the last season if you get that reference as well. But Jonathan Kaminga, been upset about his role with this team, his future with this team, not knowing what he is on this team. I know what he is right now. He's a guy that's bought in. He's a guy that has played well. He's kept his head down. He stayed ready. And you know what? He's been a positive on this team in the locker room and on the court. And I'm not scoffing at that, especially if he's trying to get paid and the Warriors are trying to figure out who's going to be the next, young core to take over for Steph and for Draymond. You want Jonathan Kaminga to be part of that because you see the skill. I mean, God, this play yesterday, the slam, the alley-oop from Draymond to Kaminga. Tim Roy, take it away.
Curry bent over at the waist, screened by Draymond. Curry back to Draymond, pick and roll, lob. Kaminga with the slam. Oh, my goodness. Draymond soft and high to the rim with the pass, and Kaminga with a hard finish.
I mean, that was beautiful. And it's really nice to hear what Draymond Green had to say about Kaminga the other night and what Ron Adams had to say about Jonathan Kaminga and his game against the Houston Rockets. I want to play this in its entirety because whenever you get a praise of, your head coach or your teammate, it goes a long way for the player, I'm sure. But for the fan base, it kind of puts them at ease a little bit too, because there's a lot of fans right there that aren't feeling Jonathan Kaminga. And maybe they are now, maybe their tune's changing, but there are a lot of them don't. They didn't like how he went to the press a couple years ago during the playoffs, during that Lakers series, went to CJ Holmes of then the San Francisco Chronicle and was complaining about his role. They didn't like that, his camp potentially leaked that info to Shams, and when Shams wrote benched across the post a couple, not going to say a couple days ago, but that was last week now. Like, people are freaking out about that stuff. Oh, bench. Oh. Well, when a guy like Ron Adams, who is a no-nonsense individual that is one of the greatest defensive minds when it comes to coaching that this sport has ever seen, a guy that has worked with Draymond, that has worked with Iguodala, that has worked with Andrew Wiggins, getting him up to a two-way player that he is now. Improved Curry's defense from abysmal to kind of passing. When you got a guy like that who's been around this game for as long as he has saying this about Jonathan Kaminga, I think a switch was flipped.
He scored meaningful points down the stretch, but I think more than that, and I told him this, I thought it was his best game ever as a Warrior. And I say that because I thought he played every possession locked in with great effort, and I'm talking both sides of the ball. And this is what he's capable of doing. I think sometimes, let me just back up a little bit. Several seasons ago when he was having trouble scoring, figuring out the scoring part of it, he was really playing some good defense for us. If you remember, we were putting him on, in some cases, in any given game, the best player on the other squad. And he was responding well. His energy was good. Then he started scoring, and with a lot of younger players in the league, they forget about defense a little bit. And now we're back and approaching a really good balance. And if he can continue to do this, and understand, above all else, just the nature of this league. Look, a basic fundamental in this league, the basic fundamental, I might add, is playing a game at an NBA level, playing a game with great intensity and aggressiveness. And this is why I was just elated for him in the game he played the other night in Houston, because I thought that game exemplified both of those characteristics.
Ron Adams, who joined the Morning Roast yesterday, Bonte and Shasky, hell of an interview there. You can find that on YouTube or download that free Odyssey app, favorite 95.7 The Game. You can find it there, courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Also, be sure to hit me up at 888-957-9570. You can call or text the Comcast Business text line. And during that conversation, we got a little bit of breaking news. And you know what? Because we get breaking news here, and it's a doozy, because it involves one of the 49ers rivals in the NFC. So I'm just going to hit the sounder.
95.7 The Game breaking news.
All right. Let's just hit the sounder at this hour of the day. Adam Schefter, ESPN. A new defensive end in Detroit. The Lions are acquiring former Pro Bowl defensive end Zadarius Smith in a trade with the Cleveland Browns. Per sources, Zadarius Smith going over to Motown from Cleveland. Talk about a change of scenery, going from the Browns and that whole bleep show. Deshaun Watson out for the year. They are in cap hell. They are just a factory of sadness. I think that was Trey Wingo who coined that term out in ESPN. The factory of sadness. It is true. It's just, ugh. I don't know if there's a team in the NFL whose future is more bleak right now than the Cleveland Browns. So Zadarius Smith, he goes to Detroit from rags to riches. Obviously, they lost Aiden Hutchinson, the Detroit Lions, for the year. I guess there's a chance if they make it to the Super Bowl, he could be available. Probably be a long shot. But you get Zadarius Smith, and that's a hell of an ad for them. I don't think Myles Garrett is ever on the table. I don't think Max Crosby was on the table. I think those two are kind of pipe dreams. But a guy like Zadarius Smith can help you. He's played in big games before, whether it was with the Green Bay Packers. You know, he's played meaningful games in the month of January. And for a team like the Lions, who, yeah, they made the NFC Championship game last year, you need all the experience you still can get. And making a move like that signals to me, hey, they're all in. They are all in on this season, and why shouldn't you be? You're the best team right now outside of the Kansas City Chiefs in the NFL. And by the way, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're just doing what the Chiefs do. They won again yesterday. They are 8-0, and they don't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. Their schedule, they got the Broncos next week at home in Kansas City. They'll handle the Broncos. It's Bo Nix. Sorry. Am I betting on Bo Nix or Steve Spagnuolo in that matchup? Please. Then they got the Bills in Buffalo, and that will be exciting. Then they got the Panthers, and then they got the Raiders at home, November 29th. I think that's Black Friday, actually. That's a noon game. Oh, well, my Black Friday's going to be ruined. But as I digress, Chiefs 8-0. And again, we'll get back to the Warriors in a second. Todd Bowles not going for two there late in that game. What are you doing? And why are you calling timeout? You milk the clock there, get the touchdown, go for two. If it doesn't work, well, it is what it is. You're going to go to overtime anyways, and if the Chiefs get the ball, you're going to lose, which is what happened. So you milk the clock there. You don't give Mahomes and Kelsey any real time, and I know 13 seconds, but realistically, in that weather, you're not giving them any time. Milk the clock. Don't take the timeout. Get it to like 10 seconds or something. Punch it in. 2-point conversion. You get it? Game's over. Instead, you play for the tie. You're on the road, too. It was just such scared energy. Troy Aikman talked about it after the game yesterday, too, for ESPN.
I thought the entire drive that if they scored, they would go for two. I approach it. I'm not saying Tampa Bay should look at it and say they're not as good as Kansas City, but when you're on the road against the defending world champs and you've got them on the ropes and you get a chance to win a game, on one play, I think you got to do that.
No, I'll say it for you, Troy. They're not as good as Kansas City. They don't have Chris Godwin. They don't have Mike Evans. You have got to go for it in that situation. It's a 10-year-old on Madden knows that. Come on, Todd. So I can't take them seriously either, the Bucs. And now they're going to be playing the 49ers next week, and that's going to be the next opponent. And I expect the Niners to win that game. Kyle Shanahan's a better coach than Todd Bowles. And, hey, by the way, Christian McCaffrey is back at practice. That doesn't hurt either. Hey, CMC back. Niners getting healthy at the right time. I heard Dre Greenlaw had a helmet on, was practicing on the side a little bit too. Interesting. He practiced a strong word. Working out. I don't know what they said. Ramping up. Is that what he's doing? I digress. But we'll get into 49ers, and their bye week is over now, and they have their sights set on Tampa Bay. And we'll get into that as the show goes on. 888-957-9570. It is the NFL trade deadline today, so you're going to be seeing some stuff, as I just mentioned, Zadarius Smith there going to the Detroit Lions after being in Cleveland. Will the 49ers be making a move today? Should they make a move? 888-957-9570. I believe, what is it? 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern is the NFL trade deadline. Let me look it up right now. Yep, I was right. 4 o'clock Eastern. All right, so 1 o'clock Pacific. That is when it is over. Will the Niners make a move? We shall see. Speaking of moves, Curry made some moves last night. He was looking good. And then, people are getting a little concerned. I don't see him start the second half. Where's Steph? He's in the tunnel. I don't know. Relax. They're spacing his minutes. They're being careful with the injury. Don't believe me? Just ask the chef.
I was playing just with the minute restriction and trying to figure out how to space those minutes out. That's why I didn't start in the third quarter to close both the third and the fourth. I feel good. It's just, it's still early in the year and you're trying to build up the endurance. My ankle feels fine. It's just you don't want to be in a position where you get fatigued and put yourself in jeopardy. So this is a good stepping stone.
And how much he'll push to get his minutes up. Here's more from Steph.
That's why this was important to get through this game where I could play aggressively, but no, I wasn't stretching to too many minutes. But the rest of this road trip is tough. We got 3 tough teams, and we want to keep building momentum. So I'm sure I'll play more, but I feel good enough to do it.
And obviously, bearing the lead here, 22 minutes into the show, old friend Jordan Poole going up against him. Obviously, no Kyle Kuzma yesterday for the Washington Wizards. It's going to be an uphill battle. They're a rebuilding team right now. I do wonder if Jordan Poole remains a Wizard throughout this season. I think he's a name that could be on the trade block. I had mentioned rumors I've heard from some people I know that a team potentially in Los Angeles could be interested in one Jordan Poole. And I'm not talking about the Clippers. He finished yesterday, his final stat line, 8 of 20, 24 points, 2 of 10 from beyond the arc. So not a great 3-point shooting performance from JP, but he's had a pretty solid year thus far as the stats go. Here's what Steph had to say on playing against his old championship teammate, Jordan Poole.
It's always, great to see, teammates, good friends, rooting for him to try to make something out of this organization. And with this opportunity here to lead, he's playing a lot better than he did last year, getting comfortable. So just excited for him. It's only his, 5th year, and the sky's the limit for him. I know they got a lot of young guys, and you can see he plays with joy, he plays with flash, the same old JP we know. Just glad we got the win in the bragging rights this time.
And that sound courtesy at NBC Sports Bay Area. And we thank them for that. And we thank Steve Kerr for speaking after the game as well and talking about what he saw from the young Washington Wizards.
I loved what I saw from their team. I think Brian has done a great job of getting them organized, giving them confidence. They've got a good-looking group of young guys, athletic and long, and a lot of guys shooting threes. Obviously, Keyshawn George got hot and made a bunch of threes, and it makes sense, like what they're putting together, what they're trying to do, and they've got a lot of good-looking young prospects.
And when he says Brian, he's referencing Brian Keefe, who is in his first season as head coach of the Washington Wizards. 888-957-9570. Your thoughts on the Warriors improving to 6-1 yesterday, 125-112 victory over the Washington Wizards. They're going to be heading into Beantown tomorrow to taking on the Boston Celtics, the defending champs. Tatum, Brown, Mazzulla. This is the real test coming up here. This has all been fine. It's all been nice, sunshine and rainbows. It's been cute. The Warriors have been a cute story right now. Yeah, 6-1, 4-0 on the road. Yeah, buddy buckets. Yeah. Time to get serious now. You got Celtics, you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are the three best teams in basketball right now. Record-wise, those are the three best teams in basketball. And probably the Celtics and Thunder, the favorites right now to meet up in the NBA Finals. And you're playing them starting tomorrow in Boston and then finishing up on Sunday in Oklahoma City. So tomorrow, Boston, Friday, Cleveland, OKC, Sunday. I'm very curious to see how this team looks against the best. It's one thing to have this kind of depth going up against the likes of the Wizards and the Pelicans and the Jazz and the Blazers. But there's a reason why rotations start to shrink in the playoffs. Trust and stuff like that. Now, you're not playing in a series. It's just going to be one game, and anything could happen in one game. Anything. The Warriors could beat the Celtics tomorrow, and I wouldn't be shocked. It's basketball. Things happen. But I'm very curious to see how they match up against some of these teams. Particularly against the Thunder, because that's the team in the Western Conference, and that's the team that was kind of a thorn in their side late in games last year. The likes of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren. I'm very curious to see that matchup. But definitely tomorrow. I mean, every time you're going up against the champs, it's going to be sexy. And we're going to be all locked and loaded on that because, as you know, 95.7 The Game is your home for Golden State Warriors basketball. And we got a quick break coming up here. We'll come on back, 888-957-9570. More of your calls, more of your texts. How massive is this 3-game stretch coming up for the Golden State Warriors for you? Is this kind of the litmus test for you? Are you going to believe? What do they have to go here? 2-1 for you to believe in this team in the next 3-game stretch? Or are you saying, Spadoni, I already believe now? Because I'm not quite there yet. I think they're a cute story. They can graduate from cute to serious with the potential sweep or going 2-1 in these next 3 games. 888-957-9570. I see your calls. I'll get to them on the other side. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, baby, and we're rolling on 95.7 The Game.
How's your home handling hot and chilly weather these days? For a comfortable home, you should consider proper weatherproofing. If you're working with a professional to upgrade or build a new home, be sure to talk with them about Golden State Lumber and Building Materials. They partner with respected brands such as Owens Corning, who can help you lower your energy costs. See their many brands.
award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years. And The Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Nation is Buddy Hill. You're listening to Pregame Show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, buddy. Not your buddy, guy. Warriors 115, Wizards 112. Warriors 6-1. On season. Again, they head to Boston tomorrow for a massive showdown against the defending champs. They got a huge 3-game stretch here to finish off, I should say, this road trip. You got Boston, you got Cleveland Friday, and then Sunday you got the Oklahoma City Thunder, the 3 best teams right now in the NBA, I would say. And you get to measure yourself up against the best. How are they going to look? How massive is this 3-game stretch for you? Are you saying, Spadoni, I just like what I see right now? I don't think these next 3 games are going to, determine everything for the season. Taking it 1 game at a time. Sure, I'm here to tell you, it's a big deal for me. Because the Warriors struggled mightily last year against teams with winning records. They just weren't good enough. And that was the difference between making the playoffs and making a play-in. And not even making the playoffs at all, to be honest. You got to beat the good teams still, too. Can't just be beating up on the weak ones. This isn't the baseball. You're not playing in the AL Central beating up on the White Sox like the Royals or the Guardians did. No. You're not going to be able to beat up on the Wizards and the Jazz all the time. You got to beat the Thunder. You got to beat the Lakers. You've got to beat the Timberwolves. So, massive, massive final stretch here before the Warriors head back home. Let's go to the phone lines because my guy, Oreo Cookie, wants to chime in on the conversation. 888-957-9570. It is the NFL trade deadline today, too, so we'll get into some of the 49ers as the show goes on. We got 1 segment down, 2 more to go here, and we're pivoting to our guy, Oreo, out in Oaktown. What's going on, Oreo?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to say that this is the best time of the year right now. The Warriors started off hot. I just want to say that these next couple of games, I hope that Steve Kerr stays with his 11, 12-man rotation. I don't want Kerr to change anything, man. Everybody's having fun right now. Everybody's bought into the defensive side. I think that's what's going to take us over the top. And then for the 49ers, man, I'm waiting to see what kind of moves that they're going to make. At the end of the day today, I'm hoping they add to the defensive line. I see CMC is back. I see Drake Greenlaw is back. Oh, I'm loving it, baby.
Let's go. That's Oreo Cookie. I'm loving the call. Oreo, you have a great morning. 888-957-9570. This is a beautiful time of the year. We got Thanksgiving in a couple weeks. Then you got Christmas, that crisp fall air. It's going to be winter. Winter is coming. Shout out the Starks. This is a beautiful time of the year. It's also kind of a make or break type of the year. Kind of the year. I was just trying to think of the word there. Time of the year. Because where the 49ers are at right now and where the Warriors are at now are 2 different parts of the season. But it really does set the tone for both of these teams right now. Just look at these stretches coming up. So I already mentioned the Warriors one. I think that's going to be a tell for how I'm going to view this team the next couple of months. How they perform in this 3-game stretch against the best teams in the NBA is how I'm going to view them under this lens in the next coming months. Because if they lose or get blown out in the next couple of games, it's like, I'm not taking them that seriously. Yeah, you can stack some wins against bad teams, but really do it against the good teams. But for the 49ers, I don't even know for them if it matters to beat, the likes of the Bills or the Packers. Now, you just need to start stacking wins because that division is just up for grabs right now. And right now, Arizona is in first. But You handle your business against the Bucks, against the Seahawks, right? You handle your business there, all right? All of a sudden, you're 6-4. And you can afford a loss here or there potentially because you still have the Rams again on your schedule. You still have, the Cardinals on your schedule. And by the way, the last game of the NFL season, January 5th, the San Francisco 49ers in Arizona. It is in the desert. Can we potentially be looking at the final game of the regular season? That's going to determine, winning division and getting into the playoffs. Are we looking at that? That would be, first of all, a TV executive's dream. You always want that. Win and get in scenario. Lose and go home. You want that. And that would be fascinating. But take care of business against the Bucks first in Tampa. Bucks are going to be licking their wounds. They're coming off a short week. That had to have been an emotional loss for them. How are they going to look? Is CMC going to be ready? He's practicing now. We'll get sound on that as the show goes on. But let's go to Chris in San Jose. He wants to weigh in on how the Warriors look right now. They handled the Washington Wizards yesterday, 125-112, and are 6-1 on the season. What's going on, Chris? You're on the pregame show.
Hey, good morning, Spadoni. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm trying to navigate this traffic here at this 580, 680 interchange. It's an absolute mess. If you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. Spadoni, I just wanted to talk about the Warriors a little bit. Yeah, it's positive. I love it. You look at the box score last night, not a single guy played 30 minutes. They've been doing that a lot this year. But, yeah, I want to see how that translates, right? We got 3 playoff teams coming up, all on the road. All of them have, relatively young players and experience. They have skill. They have speed. I want to see Kerr stick with that same lineup last night. I could see, he says he's going to mix and match throughout the year, but I think that might be the go-to lineup against a team like Boston. Just start off. Don't let them get hot. Don't let them get on runs. And then, pull the strings. But I really, the one thing I'm really focused in on is I want to see how a guy like Draymond, I want to see how he holds up on the road having to play 30-plus minutes a night against these teams, these younger teams that, frankly, teams have gone at him this year. He did well against Zion, but what I'm watching is a guy with a couple of years left, on some of his last legs. And this is going to sound somewhat sacrilegious, but, I don't see him as an elite defender anymore. I see him as a guy who has to give max effort. And, yeah, I don't know. I just want to see how our talent and our speed holds up against teams with legit talent and legit speed. I'm loving it, Spadoni. We're winning the cakewalk games like we should, like we didn't last year. So that's a positive. But, yeah, we got to see how we hang with the big boys. I'm looking forward to it, Spadoni. Let's have an absolutely wonderful Tuesday and a great rest of our week. Good, sir.
There you
Good
go.
Day to you.
Love you, Chris. That's Chris in San Jose. That's the energy I need every single day. On election day, I might need him calling tomorrow, depending on how things go. Because a lot of people might be upset. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to be upset one way or the other. I might need Chris to go back to back and have those positive vibes. That's great. It's a great call. Chris in San Jose, he's rising up the ranks, baby. He's rising up there. Oreo Cookie and Chris, it's a battle right now for the pre-gamer of the year. They got the Doobie Awards, but the pre-gamer of the year, it's up there with the Oscars. I got to tell you. But his point is taken. I don't know if I would say Draymond's taken that much of a step back, but he's getting older. Every year he gets older, he's not going to be the same defender he once was. Now, you ask him, he'll tell you he's still up there with the DPOY conversation. He should be up there every single year, given his contributions in the past and what he still is asked to do on this team. Now, what I loved yesterday was his aggressiveness and 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 18 points. Are you kidding me? Scoring the ball the way he was scoring? That is what I was impressed by. Not even the 5 assists, like the playmaking. And Ron Adams talked about that yesterday with the Morning Roast. Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. Ron Adams, obviously defensive guru, assistant coach with the Golden State Warriors. And here's what he had to say about Draymond asserting himself offensively more this season.
Well, I think he's trying to assert himself offensively a bit, and we need him to do that. And his three-point stroke has been actually last year, too. I mean, he's made a good percentage of his shots. I like what he's doing from the three-point line. He's spending, I think, more time in thinking about like the finer aspects of a shot. I think coming into the league, he was a big picture guy. The smaller things didn't matter as much to him. He got it done with energy and his just his strong will to win basketball games. And now he's older and a little bit wiser in that regard, and I think he's getting better as a shooter. We need that.
And again, yesterday, 5 of 7 on the floor, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. Got to the free throw line, 5 of 7 at the line. 18 points for Draymond Green, 18, 8, 5. It's a hell of a performance yesterday. 888-957-9570. We'll wrap up our performance on this show on the other side. One more segment before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. And I'll tell you their guest list coming up too. They have a stacked lineup. Sam Lubman, he comes back. He gets these guests booked, baby. So we'll discuss that on the other side in the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
At Shane Company, our engagement rings are the perfect blend of design, function, and beauty.
Bay Area. This is Jonathan Kaminga. You're listening to the Pregame Show with Joe Spadoni on 95.7 The Game.
Thanks, JK. Kaminga yesterday, 25 minutes off the bench. 7 of 15, 15 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, and a 125-112 victory for the Golden State Warriors over the Washington Wizards. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about the 49ers. Are they going to make a trade? Are they not going to make a trade? Is there a trade to be made? NFL trade deadline today, 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern. A big move has already came to fruition for a rival in the NFC for the 49ers. The Detroit Lions trading for former All-Pro defensive end Zadarius Smith, currently, or I say was currently, with the Cleveland Browns. So Zadarius Smith going to Motown. Will the Niners make a move today? Or is their move already being made? Because Christian McCaffrey's back. Hey, there you go. There's a move right there. Get the best offensive player in football to join your team again. That'd be great. But he's out at practice. How's he looking? Well, the morning roast in Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, they're up in about, 10 minutes. And they're going to ask Cam Inman of the Bay Area News Group how he looked at practice yesterday. Plus, they got Brian Baldinger joining them as he joins them every Tuesday here on 95.7 The Game at 7:30. Shark Week, Brian Baldinger. Can't wait for that. And, yes, Mike freaking Florio, baby. 9:20 Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports, all courtesy of the River Islands guest line.
I just want you guys to talk about me the way you talk about Mike Florio.
We love you, Dave. Dave Fleming had a hell of a call for the Dodgers winning the World Series, by the way. He was doing the calls for MLB International, courtesy of the MLB Network. And he was really good. Just throughout that whole series, whether it was the Freddie Freeman call, the final out, he was spectacular. And I know that kind of probably had to hurt Dave, being the Giants, being one of the voices for the San Francisco Giants, having to call the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'd be actually curious to ask him about that when Giants season rolls around next time. Just, he's a professional, so he'll just say, you know what, I'm a pro, I'm doing a national perspective. But deep down, it kind of had to hurt, right? A little bit, just a little bit. All right. 49ers. I'm very curious to see how they look this Sunday. And this game is going to tell me a lot about how I feel about their chances and where I think their mindset is going to be. Because I think they have a chance to dominate Tampa Bay this Sunday. Tampa Bay, 4-5 now. They lost their 2 offensive weapons, Evans and Godwin. Yeah, Baker, he's looked good this year, but Bucky Irving, Sterling Shepard, Cade Otton. And I like Cade Otton, but come on. I'm sorry. That division, it's booty. It's not very good. The Panthers stink. The Saints stink. Falcons, they're okay. I expect the 49ers to come out of this bye week with their hair on fire and to dominate on Sunday in Tampa with the team licking their wounds after I'm not going to call it a horrible loss, but Tampa had a chance to win that game. They had a chance to win it late and go for 2, and they didn't do it. It was scared energy. It was. And it was a head coach that is a defensive guy that tries to lean on his defense a little bit too much. And when you lean on your defense against the likes of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, I'm sorry. Your defense isn't as good. I understand, Todd, you were the defensive coordinator in that Super Bowl in which Tampa Bay, beat down the Kansas City Chiefs in the COVID year. Yeah, and you were in Tampa Bay. Kansas City didn't have their starting right tackles, my guy. You remember that? Yeah, so Vita Vea and Levante David and Devin White and everyone on that defensive line was able to eat. And Ndamukong Suh. Everyone was able to eat that day on Patrick Mahomes and feast because they had no chance with that offensive line. This is a different team now. This is 4 years later. And Kansas City's 8-0. And yeah, they've been squeaking by. And yeah, have they been amazing? Has Patrick Mahomes been MVP this year? No. Although yesterday, that looked more like Patrick Mahomes than I've seen him all year. I mean, they put up 30 points, 34, 44, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns. And he was sacked 4 times, but man, you know, he looked more like Patrick Mahomes than I've seen him all year long. And for a moment yesterday, Niner fans were, you know what, not rooting for injury per se, but they had a little, light bulb go off in their head. Wait, what just happened?
Joe, there's no contact on the play either, so you're going to see as he turns it loose, he doesn't get hit, and immediately, something gave. Right there, you see that it was awkward, that left hip.
Ankle injury for Patrick Mahomes. He came back and was fine. I mean, you throw up to DeAndre Hopkins. He's up there somewhere. And by the way, he got DeAndre Hopkins. And him and Travis Kelce are getting on the same page again. 14 receptions for 100 yards yesterday for Travis Kelce. Oh yeah, was he washed, people were saying? Yeah? Please. 8 receptions, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns for DeAndre Hopkins as well. Again, I'll take my chances with Patrick Mahomes, that defense, Travis Kelce, and DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, and Kareem Hunt looks like Kareem Hunt of old, I guess. 27 carries, 106 yards, and a touchdown. And they were able to rush the ball yesterday. That's going to be the recipe for the 49ers against Tampa. Again, lean on that rushing attack. I'm curious to see what the weather's going to be like in Tampa, though, too. Tampa Bay. It's still early, so things can fluctuate, especially on the East Coast. The weather is just so bipolar over there. I have no idea what it's going to be. But I'll say this right now. Hey. Let's see. The big game's going to be 1 o'clock. Yeah, there's 24% chance. 42% come 3 o'clock. Sammy, you know out there in Florida, it gets wet. Brock Purdy in the rain? I don't know. Scattered showers Sunday. We'll see. That's just what the projected forecast is. People, just relax. But that could be that's something 49ers fans are going to have to monitor in the coming weeks. The weather. Because you're going to be going to Green Bay in November. And then after that, December 1st, Sunday Night Football at night, you're going to be in Buffalo. And yeah, it's going to be a little chilly, I would say. So, yeah, you better get used to it. Those are going to be like the last kind of cold weather games you're going to have to worry about because then you're at home against the Bears, you're at home against the Rams, you're going to Miami. It's going to be fine. It's, again, could be rain, but weather-wise should be fine. And then you're at home against the Lions and then in the desert in the dome. So, a huge stretch here coming up for the San Francisco 49ers. You got the Bucs, you got the Seahawks before taking on Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, LaFleur, and co. in Green Bay. I expect them to be 6-4. I do. Now, I expected them to beat the Rams. I expected them to beat the Cardinals, and they had leads on them in the fourth quarter, and then what happened? Pooped their pants. I just don't expect that to happen. I think the Bucs are reeling right now. I think they're a fun story early. Baker's he's been really fun to watch. He hasn't been the problem with this team. Baker Mayfield's not been the problem. The defense yesterday for the Bucs was the problem. But again, you had, overtime, you held the Chiefs to, what'd you hold them to? 24 points, prime time with that weather. Just, why did Todd Bowles not go for it? You know what's happening when you go to overtime with the Chiefs. The Niners know firsthand. Unless you're Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, you're not winning against them in overtime. You're just not. Ask the Bills, ask the Niners, ask any team that's gone to, the Raiders, I think, have gone to overtime against KC. And then you lose. You lose. It was just, Shanahan's going to take Todd Bowles to the woodshed this week. I start going by coaching matchups, and that's what I'm going to start doing now. I like Shanahan over Todd Bowles. I like Shanahan over Mike McDonald the week after that. And for the most part, I've liked Shanahan over LaFleur because he just has his number. We'll wait with McDermott. We'll see with Eberflus. I think Eberflus is 1-0 against him. By the way, Eberflus, his days are numbered. Yeah. I don't know if we've seen this, the third of the NFL is just bad. I don't know if we've seen this level of just ineptitude from a third of the NFL like we're seeing this year. I was pulling up the standings, and I was just going like the tankathon. Have you ever done that when your team is just bad? So you're looking at draft position and stuff like that. But you just look at the standings right now in the conference, and I'm just going to go league. I'm going to tell with conference. I'm just going to go league. Starting with the Miami Dolphins, 2 wins. Tennessee Titans, 2 wins. Carolina Panthers, 2 wins. Cleveland Browns, 2 wins. Jags, 2 wins. Then you got the Raiders, Pats, Saints, Jags. That's 9 teams right now with 2 wins. And then just add the Jets and the Cowboys with 3 apiece. It's 11 teams with 3 or less wins. 3 or fewer, excuse me. Shout out Stannis. That's almost... That's ridiculous. A third of the league. 3 or fewer wins right now. That's atrocious. But you know what? And you go to the conference for the NFC, you look at, the Bears are right there. Like, the Eagles, the Vikings, like, you got to win your division if you're the San Francisco 49ers. Like, you're not getting the wild card, I don't think. I don't think that's happening. Given where the Packers are at 6-3, the Eagles at 6-2, the Vikings at 6-2, like, you have got to win this division. It's going to be the Cardinals, and that was a huge win for the Rams. So it's going to be a dogfight, and I'm excited to watch it. We're up against it, but coming up next, Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, they got Cam Inman, they've got Brian Baldinger, and they've got Mike Florio, all courtesy of the River Islands guest line. Stacked guest list. They'll talk some dubs. They'll talk their 125-112 win over the Washington Wizards, but a lot of football coming up as well as we get ready for Niners-Bucks this Sunday. Have a good morning, everybody. Go vote.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game.